Broadcasting live from the New Creations Weight Loss Studio in Little Rock, it's Crime Chronicle Live with your host, Val Emmons.
Welcome on this hot Saturday. This is Crime Chronicle Live, and I'm Val Emmons. First of all, I want to give a shout out to all of those graduating today. You have made it past all of the schooling, and either you're going on to college, or you're done with college, or you might go on. But what you've succeeded in getting that diploma, and that is something that not everyone gets to do. So congratulations. Now, we have a packed show today for you, as usual. And on the line with me, I have Regina Von Tunglen. Is that how you say it, Regina? I'm sorry. I hope I didn't butcher that.
No, that's it.
Okay. And Regina is with the Pine Bluff Police Department, and you are the PIO, correct?
Yes.
That is Public Information Officer. I sometimes forget
Yes.
that not everyone knows those things. So, Regina, I wanted to talk to you today because I have spent the last couple of days in Pine Bluff on the Leadership Arkansas, and and if anyone hasn't heard of that, you need to look into it because it's an amazing program. I got to learn a lot about our state. But what I already didn't know about Pine Bluff is that you got a pretty good city there. It's just you're working to clean it up.
Yes, we are.
Like I've heard, we've all heard because I've reported on it when the FBI list came out of the top dangerous cities, Pine Bluff, and then I can't say much because Little Rock was on that list too. But we wanted to talk to you today about what the new mayor, Debbie Hollingsworth, is doing, and the new police chief, Jeff Eubanks, are doing and working with the citizens to clean up some of this crime so that you can, get your image back.
Okay, well, first of all, the Mayor Hollingsworth has installed a SAFE team, and it's made up of the mayor and the department heads and the Citizens on Patrol, Neighborhood Watch, and we have a crime commission representative on that board as well. And they meet, we meet biweekly, and we analyze the data of our crime in our city, and we strategize on how to utilize our most powerful weapon that we have to combat crime here in Pine Bluff, and that is the community.
Awesome. So, I think it's great that you have acknowledged, like I was reading Office of the Chief, on the website, I was reading his message to everyone, and it is amazing that he actually, instead of sweeping it under the rug, he's saying we have problems here, and from now on, we're going to work to solve those problems together. And I think that is, that is a good direction to move forward in. Yes, and
that's the way that, with any problem, you can take a drug problem, for example. The first step is to admit you have a problem so that you can address it. So, yes, I believe that he is right on point with the way that he's thinking and going about trying to solve our crime problem here.
Well, crime's never going to be solved because we just can't figure out why they do it. But you can lower the status quo. So
right.
Tell me a little bit about the Citizens on Patrol there in Pine Bluff.
Well, the Citizens on Patrol, they are made up, they go through the Citizen Academy, and one of the things that they do is they watch people's houses while they're at funerals, because that was one thing that for a period of time people would know that people are going to funerals and they were breaking the houses.
Are you kidding me? So not only was someone at someone's funeral, they're dearly departed, but they came home to their houses just wiped out. Oh, my gosh.
And so they stepped in and said, hey, we'll watch your house. Just call us and let us know. So I thought that was a really great thing for the community to do, and that's a prime example of what we need the community to do.
Right, okay. And so what are some of the other things that they get involved in?
Well, we have, through the SAFE team, we've organized these cleanup parties in the Target area, which is the highest crime area here in Pine Bluff. Pine Bluff is between Cherry and Olive. And we've had 2 cleanup parties, and we have one coming up on May 30th. And what we do, we go out and we literally pick up the trash in the area. We knock on doors. We have all the department heads, the inspection and zoning, the fire chief, mayor, police chief, we have volunteers out knocking on doors, telling people about Neighborhood Watch and to get involved, because we really would like to see a block captain installed on each one of these streets, and that will create a stable neighborhood, and it will empower the community to take charge of their own community. It's people watching out for people is what we're trying to get at.
Okay. And so was this something that was implemented before or after Mayor Hollingsworth took office?
This is after. She looked at the data and saw where the crime was located centrally. And we said, okay, we're going to target this area. And we're going to move from that area, just start moving out once we establish...
Take it a square at a time.
I'm sorry?
Take it a block at a time.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
So I think that's a great concept. You start out small and you expand as you go along.
Okay. Now, the Neighborhood Watch, is that a little bit different than the Citizens on Patrol, or is it kind of rolled into the same thing?
Well, there are two different things, but the Citizens on Patrol, they have their meetings, and they're a part of Neighborhood Watch. You have to go through some training. Hopefully we'll have one coming up where you go through the Citizen Academy. I think it's about 8 weeks, and you ride with a police officer, you get to go to the shooting range, and you learn a lot about how to become an active citizen in your community to fight crime, but safely. We don't want vigilantes out there or anything, but, it's a way that they can become involved. But Neighborhood Watch, usually they meet monthly, and they bring concerns. And I usually attend each one of those, and they turn in nuisance reports, different things. If they notice drugs in the area, they can report anonymously, and I'll make sure it gets to the right place. They can report abandoned houses and, grown-up properties, any type of thing that they see as a nuisance in their neighborhood. They can report that through the Neighborhood Watch on a nuisance form, and I'm real particular about having the forms filled out, so we'll have a paper trail of where the reports are being made on.
Well, that's fantastic, because you can organize how and where to clean that stuff up.
Right, exactly.
And so, what are some of the biggest concerns that you hear from your citizens? Because they're listening right now.
Right.
We hope.
Well, yes. Well, one of the things that has recently come up is the transitional housing, and I talked to Chief Eubanks about that, and he's looking at data about surrounding the transitional housing that we already have here.
Now, what is let's take that. What is the transitional housing? What does that mean for listeners?
It's a place where when someone is paroled or let out of prison, they are able to stay in this community housing. And the state has regulations on how to run those things, how much supervision, who's going to be there, things like that. And they're in the communities to try to integrate the transitional person back into society, back into our society as a functioning entity.
Which is a whole nother show on its own.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's huge, because that's like halfway houses and such like that, right?
Yes,
right.
Exactly. Thank you. Yes.
Okay. And so people are concerned if these halfway houses are in their areas, and then you have to worry about if there's children around or schools. We actually faced that here in Little Rock. There was a big issue with one here as well in the placement of it, but I haven't heard anything lately about it. But what does the data say? Well,
it's telling us that around these transitional houses that the crime really does not go up. It's the same. But the real problem that we have is the abandoned houses that are in these neighborhoods. And, if you have the transitional housing and then you have abandoned houses, it just breeds more crime. And the way Chief Eubanks thinks that we can help this issue is to get rid of some of the abandoned houses, do as much as we can to hold property owners responsible for those abandoned houses so they won't breed any more crime.
So when you mean crime, you mean like squatters and things of that nature?
Yes.
And drug addicts going in there.
Drug addicts, and it's in the neighborhood. It makes it seem like the neighborhood is dirty. You have weeds growing up to the roof. It just looks abandoned and unkept, and we don't want that to draw people to in those areas that are going to do crime, because that's what they think. Nobody's watching this place. Look, nobody's there.
Right. All right, well, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back, Regina.
Okay.
Have you picked up your Crime Chronicle this week? Crime Chronicle is the Central Arkansas publication for crime-related news. Pick up your copy today at any convenience store or gas station near you. You can also find us on Facebook at www.facebook/Crime Chronicle.
Don's Weaponry has been taking care of sportsmen for over 20 years. At Don's, you have a huge selection of new and used pistols and rifles, police trade-ins, holsters, scopes, ammo, reloading supplies, magazines, and more. 6,000 square feet of inventory, including a 7-lane pistol range open 7 days a week. Smith & Wesson, Taurus, Ruger, Kimber, Springfield Armory, Glock, Walther, and more. Stop by Don's Weaponry, 4116 East Broadway in Rose City for everything the hunter and shooter needs.
Talk to you about a screening. No, not a movie screening, but a screening test for colorectal cancer. It could save your life. Colorectal cancer is highly preventable, yet it is the second leading cancer killer of men and women in the U.S. But it doesn't have to be. Screening finds precancerous polyps so that they can be removed before they turn into cancer. So please, get screened for colorectal cancer. I did.
If you're 50 or older, get screened. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Those ground-in nachos, that embarrassing grape juice, those smelly pet stains. Want to finally ditch that dingy carpet for less? Now's the perfect time with Lumber Liquidators weekend-only flooring deals. For a limited time, get great deals on easy-to-clean, hardwood, laminate bamboo, and vinyl flooring. Plus, get special financing. With deals this good, you really clean up. Hurry! Sales going on now. Visit your local store or lumberliquidators.com and finally ditch your dingy carpet today.
He wakes up, sniffs around, looks for great deals all over town. He's Sweet Jack, he's Sweet Jack, he's SweetJack.com. He searches in all places, really hot deals are what he chases. To get the best deals in your inbox, that's why he rocks. He's Sweet Jack, he's Sweet Jack, he's Sweet Jack, SweetJack.com.
Hi, this is Val Emmons. Do you have a business? Are you part of a nonprofit? Do you want to reach tens of thousands of loyal and informed consumers? Well, advertising on this radio show is more effective and affordable than you could ever imagine. Please call me 870-897-7716 or email me ccvalemmons@gmail.com to learn how you can have your business or organization's message heard on Crime Chronicle Live. That number again is 870-897-7716. Give me a call today.
Pick up your copy of the Crime Chronicle today because you have a right to know.
And we are back, and we have Regina still with us on the line. Regina's the Pine Bluff information officer for the police department. Regina, I wanted to ask you, because, last week, Little Rock we had 6 homicides in 1 week. And and that makes 13 for the year. What is your current numbers, if I might ask, or do you know?
I don't know off the top of my head. I don't want to quote a number that's incorrect.
Right. Okay, I understand that. We can talk about that another time. But I was reading here where the chief said, we will address crime by identifying specific causes and take appropriate action to stop it because our murder rate is directly linked to illegal drug distribution. What are y'all doing to work on getting the rates down dealing with drug distribution? And how bad is that there?
Well, with the drug problem, we know that the small people are the ones that we always get, just the people that are selling drugs on the street. And I believe the concept behind that is that we're looking at the big people, the people that bring it here, the people that have tons of it on them at one time that are giving it to these young people to sell. And if we can get those people, maybe we can stop, well, not stop, but, decrease the numbers of drug-related crimes that we have.
Okay. What's the drug that's predominantly, being abused in your area, or is there a couple?
Yeah, I know there's a couple. Besides marijuana, the methamphetamines is a big thing. And those are the two that I know about specifically, that I've heard about arrests being made. I think it was a week or so ago. It was meth and marijuana.
Okay. Well, you guys keep pretty busy down there then, don't you? I mean, we applaud everything all your efforts in trying to get this, the image and the city turned around. I actually was at the, is it the Snow White Grill yesterday?
Yes, great place to eat.
Oh, it was. They have fabulous food. The salad and, the service was fantastic as well. I just want to give a shout out to them for making us feel at home. But I started asking some of the citizens, what their thoughts were since Mayor Hollingsworth took office, and they were like, you know what, we can already tell the difference in the crime, that it's being, they're working towards taking it away and cleaning it up. And I was like, really? And they were like, yeah, I mean, I don't feel, that it is going to affect me as much as I did before. And so, and one of, the lady that waited on us reiterated that very same notion. So you guys must be doing a good job if everyone that I talked to, of course, it was just a few people, but, that's just a good consensus that you guys are working to get Pine Bluff cleaned up.
Yes. Another thing, one of the things that we're doing is problem-oriented policing, and that's trying to stop the crime before it happens. And we do that working with the youth. We had a play that talked about bullying and what to do about that, because, that leads to other things. And we have a pay camp that's coming up from the 4th of June to the 12th of July, and we have 250 youth, 6 to 16, in which they're going to teach self-esteem, team building, and just a moral foundation for our youth, so that we won't have as much of a problem later on. And, they're going to have some fun things. They're take them on field trips all around the state. And just trying to be a part of the officers. I think there's 12 officers and volunteers that are paid through the city, interns. And they will be working with these youth all through 6 weeks, and trying to make an impact on their life, like mentoring and things like that. And then we have a basketball camp that starts July 22nd through the 26th, in which I think it's 100 youth will participate in that, and it's the same concept. But we're already trying to put in place some things that will help crime in the future, as well as combating crime that's happening now.
Yeah, I mean, if you get these kids while they're younger and you explain, teach them, explain to them, this is not the way, this is not the right path, this is not the way, this is not the future. Things are so much easier on the community and the child, because they don't end up in a prison system where they get lost. I completely agree with that. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and I hope that we can have the mayor on next week. I think you were working on that for me.
Yes, I have spoken to her about it, and hopefully you can get her or the police chief next week, and they can elaborate on some of these things that we've already talked about and give you some more in-depth information.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Regina. I'll be talking to you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome, and we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Jimmy Smits, and I'd like to talk to you about a screening. No, not a movie screening, but a screening test for colorectal cancer. It could save your life. Colorectal cancer is highly preventable, yet it is the second leading cancer killer of men and women in the U.S. But it doesn't have to be. Screening finds precancerous polyps so that they can be removed before they turn into cancer. So please, get screened for colorectal cancer. I did.
If you're 50 or older, get screened. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Hi, this is Val Emmons. Do you have a business? Are you part of a nonprofit? Do you want to reach tens of thousands of loyal and informed consumers? Well, advertising on this radio show is more effective and affordable than you could ever imagine. Please call me 870-897-7716 or email me ccvalemmons@gmail.com to learn how you can have your business or organization's message heard on Crime Chronicle Live. That number again is 870-897-7716. Give me a call today.
The biggest stories. Only one station.
KARN.
News on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks. KARN News Radio. The news is now.
At 4:30, I'm Mike Kemp in the KARN News Center. The ousted director of the IRS, Stephen Miller, testified before the United States House Ways and Means Committee Friday. Representative Tim Griffin is on that committee and says he isn't pleased about what he heard.
I was really disappointed in the witness. He had very few answers, and it's clear to me that we have a long way to go before we get the facts. I can tell you I'm hearing from constituents who are demanding to know what happened.
Representative Griffin says one thing's clear after the hearing: our most expansive federal powers have been given to our most intrusive agency. A federal judge is granting a request to temporarily block enforcement of a new state law that bans most abortions 12 weeks into a pregnancy. U.S. District Judge Susan Weber Wright granted a motion Friday for a preliminary injunction against the ban, which is set to take effect in August. The state's Republican-led legislature enacted the ban in March by overriding a veto of Democratic Governor Mike Beebe. The sponsor of the 12-week abortion ban, Senator Jason Rappert of Conway, says he takes heart from something Judge Weber Wright said when she ruled Friday morning.
She is considering that the provisions in the Heartbeat Protection Act that would require a woman, when she presents for an abortion, to have a fetal heartbeat detected, and if it is detected, that the doctor would be required to tell her that and inform her of the statistical probability of the child coming to full term. The judge says that she does not see that would be an undue burden.
Rappert says if they wind up with a partial win, it would be a step in the right direction. The bigger the Powerball jackpot, the more people buy tickets, and that makes the jackpot grow even more. The pot is now estimated at $600 million. It'll keep growing until an hour before the drawing. That's when ticket sales stop later this evening. I'm Mike Kemp, KARN News Radio, 102.9 FM, on air, online, KARNnewsradio.com.
Have you picked up your Crime Chronicle this week? Crime Chronicle is the central Arkansas publication for crime-related news. Pick up your copy today at any convenience store or gas station near you. You can also find us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/Crime Chronicle.
You're listening to Crime Chronicle Live with your host, Val Emmons.
That would be me. Thank you for tuning in today and sticking with us. I hope that you enjoyed the conversation with Regina, and we'll be talking more with the Pine Bluff Police Department and the mayor on their show. Hopefully they'll give us some regular updates on how the crime cleanup is going down there. I know they're really making a huge effort. Now, I want... This one happened this morning. A shoe store robbed as an employee opened the store. Arkansas workers at the Shoe Carnival at 12801 Chenal Parkway were getting ready to open this morning when a 6-foot medium-built man with tattoos walked in the store and robbed it. Little Rock Police told KARK News that the robber left the store in a black 4-door Buick LeSabre heading north on Bowman Road. The car had Arkansas tags 547 SEC on it. So if you see that car, again, it's a 4-door Buick LeSabre with Arkansas tags reading 54C. Gosh, why do I keep doing that? 547 SEC. 547 SEC on it. So the tags belong to a Ford Explorer. So they didn't go on the LeSabre. But those are the tags that are on it. And also had a donut tire on the right rear. So if you see that car while you're out and about right now, go ahead and call the Little Rock Police Department and let's catch this guy. Another thing that I want to talk about real quick before I get Jason Cline, who is the director of Americans for Prosperity, on the line. In North Little Rock, yesterday, a mentally disabled man was badly beaten. This was Wednesday. afternoon while onlookers recorded the whole thing. 23-year-old Steve Washington is still in shock after being beaten dozens of times. There were several people watching, but instead of helping him, they decided to record it. I mean, come on, people, really? This is like the second time this has happened in Little Rock. Josh, do you remember the other guy that got beat up? And actually, he got brain damage from it. He was already handicapped, but he got brain damage from being beaten up.
Yeah, and they are both crazy. And even on this one, not only do they get the video because they see someone beating him, but there's like 3 or 4 more people in the video taking the video too.
That's insane to me. Instead of reaching out to help this poor guy who's obviously defenseless, you're going to take a video of it. Shame on you. Shame on you people for doing things like that. And I'm calling you out on it because that's just wrong. I'm so sick and tired of people doing this. I mean, my son has a kid that's autistic, or my child has a friend who is autistic. And, you know, these kids pick on him and stuff, and they video it and put it on Vine. And I'm like, what is wrong with people? I just don't understand what's wrong with people. But we're going to talk more about what's wrong with people. And we have Jason Cline, who's the director of Americans for Prosperity, Arkansas, on the line with us. How you doing, Jason?
Doing well. How are you?
I am fantastic. Jason, I wanted to have you on today to talk about this IRS targeting, political entities, or well, not political entities, because these are nonprofit organizations such as the Tea Party, or I don't know if anyone in Americans for Prosperity has been targeted. That's what I wanted to ask you today. And how important it is that we don't let this one slide under the rug.
Right. So Americans for Prosperity is an organization. We've not been targeted. We're really the main focus that we've been trying to draw people's attention to is the fact, very simply, that this organization is the one who's going to be running your health care, and not only is this is the organization, but the woman who oversaw the targeting agency is now head of the health care agency. So as an organization, we've never been targeted. Our Pennsylvania director, Jennifer Stefano, ran a Tea Party previously, and she was targeted. She did have to go through a very lengthy process. She was on Cavuto and Fox News this week talking about how she personally, as just a mom who was at home with 2 kids and wanted to take an active role in her country's future, was targeted by the IRS as a group who needed extra scrutiny, and what that was like. And I can tell you that this is something that we should not let, as you said, get swept under the rug. This is bigger than it should be. Information, I think, surfaced yesterday showing that the Treasury Department knew about this 6 months before the election.
In June.
And so it's a scary. What I think we see is a pattern of abuse of power by the Obama administration, and we see he's being rocked. Everybody's talking about this sort of trifecta of scandals, but we haven't even really talked about the 4th one, which I think will become news here going forward, which is the fact that you have Secretary Sebelius, who was in open violation of the Hatch Act,
remember that,
basically shaking down health insurance companies to donate to this new nonprofit of hers in order to help push people onto the exchanges, which is what the government is supposed to be doing. But of course, conservatives are done throwing good money after bad and funding this health care proposal that is over cost, over budget, over time. And so that's, I think, another scandal we're going to see that is completely tied to the rest of these, which is, as you know, a consistent pattern of abuse of power.
And some of us can say that we told you so a long time ago, but I won't do that. I would never do that. But so today the Washington Post is the article that I pulled up is the headline is who's going to jail over IRS scandal? Probably nobody.
Right.
Because House Speaker John Boehner is, he, of course, has commented on who's going to jail over the IRS scandal. And then Louisiana Governor Bobby Jindal is pushing for punishment for the IRS and the officials who targeted conservative groups, that led up to the 2012 election. And you know what? Before I even read that, I said the same thing last night. I mean, somebody has got to, this has got to be what we call traitors.
Yeah, and it's interesting, too, because for years, there's this been sort of pervasive perception of conservatives saying, we've been targeted. There's more to this stuff, and Jon Stewart, actually, the comedian who's never really friendly to conservatives,
Right.
came out on the right side of this issue last week and said, you know, all the jokes we've ever made about these crackpot conservatives are now coming to fruition. I mean, we're seeing that this is the facts bear out. And you know, you had Bobby Jindal today, Governor Jindal, speaking on behalf of Ken Cuccinelli, who's now officially nominated as Virginia's Republican nominee for governor, saying, you know, I want to thank all the delegates for being here. Oh, by the way, you're now on the target list, you know, for the IRS.
Yeah.
And it's a scary, scary thing that you have an administration targeting people based on their political stripes. It's especially considering there was interviews with the IRS agents on the ground saying this was a directive from the top.
Yeah, and not only that, you have people saying, of course, they're gonna try to defend Obama, which I don't understand. Why would you keep defending the guy? Oh, well, he doesn't know. He doesn't control the IRS. Okay, but his administration knew about this 6 months ago, and they swept it under the rug and did nothing about it. And they continued the practice of doing so.
Well, there's a Jay Carney meme out now. It's actually pretty funny. It's a simple quote. It said, "At no time was the Obama administration aware of what the Obama administration was doing." And it's very simple. And that's exactly what it is. What you're seeing is an unfolding of a pretty rough week. And here's a simple thing, too. I would be open to a higher scrutinized process of C3, C4 applicants if it was bipartisan and open against anybody. But honestly, if you look at the average Tea Party group, and I've been in many states and I've talked to many of these people, they're not well-funded, you know, political machines. What they are is a group of citizens who wants to get together and make sure that they're complying with legal to influence, you know, to educate their citizens is what they're trying to do.
Right.
And it's you know, you can't afford lawyers and CPAs and things like that.
And they know that. They know that. They do know that. You can't tell me they don't, because they see their tax return, you know, or 990.
Yeah.
They see that.
Well, it's very straightforward. I mean, this is, you know, you have the Benghazi scandal, you have the IRS scandal. I mean, the fact that you have liberal people out there saying these are unrelated, I think shows us that we're onto something. They would love for this to go away. They would love for this to be done with. But honestly, I think what we're seeing, and we've seen this before, is a peek behind the curtain of how the Obama administration would prefer to run the country.
Oh, right. And like I said, we all have seen that forthcoming. But, you know, the problem is that we don't get out, and, you know, there are some of us that do activist work, and we try to get the word out and educate people, because education is the only way we're going to, you know, get people in office that actually are true to the Constitution, are true to the citizens, and who are not trying to better themselves on the taxpayer's dollar by allowing things like this to slip through the cracks because, you know, they're benefiting for it at the time.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And the biggest thing that really does scare me more than anything is the IRS's role going forward in our healthcare, the amount of information that they will be taking from us. You know, we always talk about in socialized healthcare, what stops the government from saying, well, you're not eating correct, or you're not you haven't met your metrics, which means they're watching them. You know, your premiums will be more expensive, or we can't cover you. It's the information sharing aspect of what's going to happen under Obamacare is an honestly scary thing, and I applaud House Republicans. You know, I saw on Twitter yesterday a lot of people who are attacking Tom Cotton for speaking for the repeal of Obamacare for what they said the 37th time to get to the jobs in the economy. I think that we understand that repealing Obamacare is dealing with jobs in the economy.
Yeah, it actually is. And, you know, I'm glad that they did vote to repeal it yesterday. And, you know, I know that the Senate won't. They won't do that. But you know what? It really shouldn't go back to the Senate, in my opinion, because, you know, this whole thing was voted on as a fine or a penalty. And when the SCOTUS deemed it a tax, it should have gone back to the House to let them vote on it again. It should stop here. I know it doesn't work like that, but I really think that it needs to be dissolved and started over again, and then, you know, let's not have it.
Well, and that was the entire conversation around Obamacare. That was our entire conversation around the private option deal is, let's start with a clean sheet of paper. Let's make sure that we're all working together on the same page, and let's iron out these issues going forward, because as conservatives said, You're going to have 15,000 new IRS agents. I mean, just even in the state of Arkansas alone, you have, I think, 500 to 600 what they're calling navigators, which are contractors hired by the IRS to go out and identify people who qualify for government benefits who have yet to sign up for them.
Yeah.
I mean, this is, and
It's
I would,
requirements, yes.
right, and
Even if they don't want
wager,
it. I know.
right, and I would wager that we are going to find that these folks also have voter registration forms.
Right.
And they have surveys, and they have all sorts of things that the government can do to mine data from people, because as we always know, if you can rob Peter to pay Paul, you can count on Paul's support. And that's what they're looking to do.
Well, and the frightening thing is the IRS has more information on you, just about as much information as your doctor does. I mean,
Right.
you don't even... I mean, they monitor what you're, if you're a business person, they look at your receipts, where you're going, if you don't do mileage, if you're getting gas here or getting gas there and you turn it in by that, or your lunch receipts, they monitor where you're eating at. I mean, they know more than just about as much as Facebook does about
Yeah,
you.
and it's funny, too, because I said this the other day to Dave Ellswick, and I said, we're lucky that the government's so incompetent and we aren't getting as much as we're paying for.
Right.
Because we often complain about how inefficient and wasteful it is, and I'd love to trim that fat too, but I really am appreciative that we aren't getting the government we're paying for, because imagine what they could do if they understood complex business processes and things of that nature. So I'm thankful the government is in some ways a leviathan of uselessness, but at the same time, yes, you're completely right. It's scary how much information they have on us.
And so, Jason, so you are the new director of Americans for Prosperity Arkansas.
Correct.
And some of my listeners may have missed your interview on the Dave Ellswick Show. So would you like to introduce yourself?
Right. So my name's Jason Cline, again, as you said. I took over April 1st for Teresa Oki, who was the previous American Prosperity Director. She was asked to take a role at National, and as many people know, she's an effective and very skilled worker, organizer, manager, and it's only natural that they wanted to extend her ability to create good things throughout the nation. So she searched out a state director, and she reached out to me and offered me to be in Arkansas, which I've worked in here many times previously since 2011, and take over. So I'm excited at the opportunity to take AFP in a not a new direction, but I guess re-energize the direction we're heading in, which is free people, free markets, and that's just everything we're based in. So people can learn about me, or they can learn about our organization if they haven't heard about us before, afparkansas.com. We have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can interact with us in a number of different ways, and the biggest thing you'll find is that we are, in my opinion, and I think many people would agree with this, the most consistent voice for economic freedom and individual liberty in the state of Arkansas.
And you're not biased.
That's correct. That's correct. We are
I'm
nonpartisan.
telling you, yes, because I've been stressed. I've heard that on many, many occasions. So for those out there that think that AFP Arkansas or AFP, is a biased organization because they're nonprofit, telling you, they stress it. We are not involved in the political. We are, prosperity
Right.
of
We
Americans.
Exactly.
Yes.
And you can ask plenty of Republicans. You ask them who was doing the heavy lifting against them against the private option. I mean, we were. We have no problem telling Republicans that they've taken the wrong direction on an issue of economic freedom, individual liberty. We have no problem doing that, and that's one of the things I really like about what we do, which is focused on how can we shift the needle on public opinion in the direction of economic freedom. We don't help candidates. We don't help political parties. What we do is convince people, and really it's just showing them the facts that economic freedom is by far the best system that we know to raise the standard of living for everyone across every income bracket. And that's what we do. We convince people every day. We spend all year round doing that, and as you said, nonpartisan, non-biased.
And
we just tell them like it is.
Well, I think some people might not realize that that's kind of what the IRS was looking for when they were targeting these organizations, to shut them down because they were being biased. I'm not saying they were, I'm saying if they were being biased. That's why they're asking for their Facebook posts and stuff. That's crazy to me. They're asking for personal Facebook posts.
Yeah, and you see that, there was recently an organization, I believe, out of the state of Washington, which was asked what was the content of their prayers during their group. I mean, we're talking about just some odd requests, definitely out of base, and what I would consider very, very far out of line with American values of privacy, individual liberties, and it's, I think the country's ready for that conversation on privacy and liberty again, and I hope we are.
It's time to take our country back, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely.
I won't keep you anymore. Thank you so much for joining us today.
I appreciate it. You got a great program there.
Thank you, and we will be right back. Hi, this is Val Emmons. Do you have a business? Are you part of a nonprofit? Do you want to reach tens of thousands of loyal and informed consumers? Well, advertising on this radio show is more effective and affordable than you could ever imagine. Please call me 870-897-7716 or email me ccvalemmons@gmail.com to learn how you can have your business or organization's message heard on Crime Chronicle Live. That number again is 870-897-7716. Give me a call today.
Don's Weaponry has been taking care of sportsmen for over 20 years. At Don's, you have a huge selection of new and used pistols and rifles, police trade-ins, holsters, scopes, ammo, reloading supplies, magazines, and more. 6,000 square feet of inventory, including a 7-lane pistol range open 7 days a week. Smith & Wesson, Taurus, Ruger, Kimber, Springfield Armory, Glock, Walther, and more. Stop by Don's Weaponry, 4116 East Broadway in Rose City for everything the hunter and shooter needs.
Deer season's ending soon, and so are these great deals on John Deere utility tractors. Get 0% financing for 60 months and up to $1,500 off new compacted 5D, 5E open station utility tractors up to 75 horsepower. Hurry in before these incredible deals disappear. Offer ends July 31st, 2013, subject to approved credit on John Deere financial installment plan. Cash off with purchase of 2 qualifying implements. Restrictions apply. See your participating dealer for details.
Stop by Cabot Outdoors at 901 South Pine Street in Cabot to experience all that John Deere has to offer. Or find us at myjohndeerdealer.com.
Waste Management is making it easy for Little Rock to think green with environmental solutions like single-stream recycling for business. Now your company can toss the recyclables we accept into a single container. Paper, plastic, aluminum. You collect it, Waste Management picks it up, sorts it, and ships it out for reuse. Recycling with Waste Management is good for your company, good for the environment, and good for your bottom line. So think green. Just go to WN.com/Little Rock. Certain restrictions apply.
Have you picked up your Crime Chronicle this week? Crime Chronicle is the Central Arkansas publication for crime-related news. Pick up your copy today at any convenience store or gas station near you. You can also find us on Facebook at www.facebook/Crime Chronicle.
You're listening to Central Arkansas's only radio show on crime, Crime Chronicle Live, with your host, Val Emmons.
Welcome back. Your host, Val Emmons, as you know. And so many of you may wonder why I'm focusing on this IRS probe, since this is a crime show. I truly believe that what the IRS has done is a crime. And I also believe that the Obama administration should be punished in some way because, you know, it's come to light that the Obama administration and Treasury officials have known about the IRS probe since June of 2012, and they did nothing about it. And even here now it's middle of May, so that was almost a year ago. 11 months, give or take, for those who you want to take it literally. A year almost. And they knew about this, and we're just now learning the details, and they're lying about that as usual. Reminds me of Jodi Arias, the way they're lying. It's like a different story here and a different story there, trying to cover everything up. And, you know, it goes back to the fact that all of these people, you know, liberals, I'll say, like Jason was saying, they'll make fun of all these points. Like you know, I still don't believe the Osama bin Laden lies. I think they're all lies. And this is why. This is why I question my government. Because things like this that are not out yet. And there's probably more to come, like Jason said with Sebelius, you know. It's just so much, and you people wonder why. Well, why are you just hate Obama because you're racist? No, it's because of this stuff, this lying to your country, the taxpayers. You know, this president is incompetent. the country is being run for the benefit of its employees rather than the taxpayers whom they work for. And it's got to stop. I mean, people have to get up off your social media sites for a little while. Get out, go start talking to legislatures. You know, call the White House. This is your country. Take it back. And until we start doing that, nothing's going to change. And like the Washington Post article today, where like I just said, they stated, who's going to jail over the IRS scandal? Probably nobody. Well, they're probably right, unless you out there and me and everyone else gets out and protests against this horrific contempt of our. I mean, this is what a traitor is. And Miller and what is her other name? Let's see, what is her name? She testified first. There's another story there because she testified in front of the Ways and Means Committee, and she didn't give any information. I'm trying to find her name, so bear with me for just a moment. And if you want to call in for the last 10 minutes of the show, feel free. The number is 501-433-0093. And, give us your thoughts on this. I'm looking for her name, and I cannot find it. And I apologize. But she testified in the Ways and Means Committee, in front of the Ways and Means Committee. And, she didn't give any information. Well, then she was at an event. And she told the leader of the event, or maybe the coordinator, that she wanted to have someone ask her a question. And she gave her the question, and she didn't tell her the answer. Well, she asked the question, and the question was something in effect of the events that have happened with the IRS this week. Well, her question was obviously, planned, and it said that the IRS was sorry for this, and that. Well, it backfired on them because this lady comes out and says, well, that was a planned question. She asked me to ask that question because in her response to somebody had asked her that, why did you give an apology about the IRS? And so someone had come out and said, well, she told me to ask that question to her. So anyway, her response was planned. So we have a caller. Who do we have on the line?
That her name was Carolyn Lerner.
Oh, Carolyn Lerner. Yes, that's it. I'm sorry. I lost my notes. I had it written down. Thank you very much. So yes, Carolyn Lerner. This is another one that needs to be looked at closely because she was planning. I mean, I understand communications. You have to, You have to take control of the situation, damage control. But the way that they did it was just deceiving, which is exactly what they've done with the American people. So John Boehner's asking, who's going to jail. Bobby Jindal said he's pushing for punishment for Internal Revenue Service officials that targeted conservative groups in the lead up to the 2012 election. So Politico and CNN report that in Jindal's prepared remarks for a Saturday speech to Virginia Republicans, he says IRS officials involved in the targeting should go to jail. It is the IRS, people in a position of public trust, who have violated the Constitution of the United States of America. You cannot take the freedom of law-abiding Americans, whether you disagree with them or not, and keep your own freedom. When you do that, you go to jail. So Jindal's remarks are spot on, in my opinion. So let's go to the caller. We have a caller. Hi, you're on Crime Chronicle.
Hey, Val. I agree with you on this premise that this is a very serious crime that you're talking about today, and just been sitting here listening, and Hillary Clinton was one of the people that was asking Richard Nixon, what happened, when did it happen, where did it happen?
Yes, I remember.
And those
I
questions,
don't remember, but
I don't either, but those questions there are need to be attributed to this president that acts like he didn't know anything that happened on any of these things, when we all know that he did. He knew what happened. And Hillary Clinton is originally from Chicago, as is Barack Obama, this president. And
well, he isn't originally from Chicago, but
who's that?
Obama.
Oh, right. But they both to me, they're Chicago politicians.
Right.
And
I got you on that.
What I wanted to say that isn't getting a lot of real solid press yet, but I'm sure it's going to be investigated. The woman who really was probably the one that heard from Axelrod or Obama to put the clamp down a year and a half, 2 years ago, is getting a promotion to head up the Obamacare division, and that's the one that should be fired. She's the one that got a promotion.
Is that Carolyn Lerner or no?
No, that's a different woman. She's
There's so much coming out lately that I'm having trouble keeping it straight. I don't know this name.
You also need to know that that she got about $110,000 bonus, and on top of her salary. When I was growing up and I was in college and stuff, the private sector is where you make the big bonuses. Government people don't really get bonuses, I didn't think. But she got a huge bonus for putting the clamp down, a promotion, and the person that was going to quit anyway is the one that was up on the stand. I didn't know what happened. So I don't understand how this isn't going to be something that's going to ride out the rest of this guy's miserable presidency. So
well, you know what? Here's what I say. We need to get him out of there.
Let me
Why aren't we calling impeachment? Bill Clinton was impeached for his little scandal. These are amounting to way more than that. And let me just say that I think it's appalling as well, because I've been so sick about this since they dedicated the library to officially dedicated it last week. We've got Hillary Clinton, who, why does it matter? 4 Americans are dead. Why does it matter? Why? Well, it matters. And so we name an airport after her, the Hillbilly Airport. I'm sorry, the Bill and Hillary Airport. Take the name from was it Major Adams, who was a war hero in the reserves and died in the line of duty, and we give it to her. What is wrong with that? What is wrong with that picture? This woman is a mockery, in my opinion. She's... I'm getting a headache just thinking about it. But anyway, so in response to the bonuses to government officials, she's getting a bonus for keeping the lid on scandals in the administration. And that's basically what you get bonuses for in government, because, we all know that happens, and we need to do something about it. I don't understand why we cannot all... get off our couches and do something about this administration. Why are you all not calling for impeachment? This is regardless of whether he knew what happened at the time, or if he was not, directing the IRS to do these things. He's benefiting from it, so he didn't say to stop doing it. He did nothing about it. And we're now seeing the emails come out where that is found to be true. And God, we only don't even know what else is going on, because if you're going to lie about, the things you call the little things, this is not a little thing, but what I'm saying is if you're going to lie about the little details, you're going to lie about the big stuff, and you're going to try to cover that up even more. You're going to go to great lengths to do so. And so we don't even know what else is out there that could harbor hurt our country. This, and somebody said this is a bad week for the administration. No, you're wrong. This is a bad week for our country. Our country. I don't understand why these elected officials go off, some of them with good intent, but they come back and they're just sour, and they fail to remember that there's only one thing that you can take to your grave, and that is your integrity. You can't take the money, you can't take the greed. You can take the power, I guess, but not really. But integrity. Integrity is the only thing you can take to your grave. And I'll take it to mine. Have a great weekend. I will talk to you guys next week. Bye-bye.
Don't touch that dial. You're listening to Crime Chronicle Live with your host, Val Emmons.
This is the voice of Arkansas. News Radio 102.9 FM KARN, Sheridan, a Cumulus station.
From ABC News, I'm Chuck Severson. An emergency official this past hour says 50 to 60 people are injured, a few seriously, after a man crashed his car into a group of hikers at a parade in Damascus, Virginia a few hours ago. Over a dozen people have been taken to hospitals. Peg Ayers is a town councilwoman.
This is a fun time. Everybody's having a good time, and then something like this occurs. It's it's chilling.
No word yet on the condition of the driver, whom witnesses say is elderly. A broken section of rail is right now very interesting to the NTSB, on the scene investigating yesterday's Connecticut train derailment and collision. The board's Earl Wayner gave an update this past hour.
There was a section of rail on the eastbound track, that part of the rail going toward New Haven, that was fractured at a rail joint.
That section of rail is going to be cut and sent to the NTSB lab in Washington. They want to find out if it broke before or during the accident.
Plans to remove the cars to a location which will support a complete examination.